Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to take you through Cisco Cloud Control, and I'll explain and demonstrate how to use it to manage your secure firewall devices. So Cisco Cloud Control, it's a unified operations platform designed to bring together Cisco's entire IT estate and connect third-party systems into a single operational environment. The whole idea behind Cisco Cloud Control is to provide a consistent, seamless operational experience with one login and unified control plane that manages your inventory, topology, identity, policy across Cisco products. It supports cross-domain context and trusted AI agent operations with governance and safeguards. It includes components like AI Canvas, AI Assistant, Cloud Control Studio, and Cloud Control Marketplace. So let's jump right in. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so quickly, let's just go over a very simple topology here that I'm using Cisco Modeling Labs to essentially depict what we're going to be demonstrating here today. So if you didn't know, you can add a node and they have a FTDV platform that you can go ahead and drag over. And I'm just going to click on that and I'm going to show you that under the config section here, they give you a very useful and easy, efficient way to get a bootstrap config on the device. So you just fill in the variables here like DNS, IP address, mode, IP address information, and then you would save it and go ahead and power on the node. So for time's sake, I've already done that, and I've already booted this XLAN FTDV01 that I have highlighting here. And based on the console, if I just scroll up, you can see that it's coming off of a clean boot. And I've just logged in with the admin and the username and password that I defined in that little config file. Now, if I hop over to Cisco Cloud Control, so you point your web browser to cloud.cisco.com, and you would go ahead and you would log in, and you can see that you're greeted with the landing page, which looks very similar to whatever AI platform that you're used to using. So that's a very powerful feature because as you bring products in, you can then prompt the AI agent to essentially provide information or give it tasks to run across the multiple platforms. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and click on the 9-dot menu here. And as you continue to expand your portfolio and bring different platforms into Cisco Cloud Control, they will start to show up here. You can see that I don't have many. I just have security and IQ here. So I'm going to go ahead and click security. And once it loads up here, you're going to have the landing page for what essentially used to be called Security Cloud Control. But now that everything's integrated into C3, you'll hear me use C3 for Cisco Cloud Control for short. As things are geared more towards C3, you're never going to have to leave this interface, if you will, right? Now, in our case, we're going to go to Firewall here on the left. And I'm going to actually go down to Manage Security Devices. And right now you can see that there are no devices here, okay? So nothing's been imported. It's just a blank slate, if you will. I'm going to hit the plus sign to onboard a device. So on the far right here. And you can see you're greeted with a bunch of devices that you have the ability to onboard. All right. So again, I'm going to go ahead and onboard a Firewall Threat Defense box. So I'm going to click that widget. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the CLI registration key method. So if I click that, now it's just going to prompt me for some very basic information. So if we go back to the topology here, okay, so hopping over to the topology, I've already done the basic config of XLAN FTDV01, given it the IP address information and DNS server, so it should have internet reachability, all right? So that's the box we're going to use to essentially onboard. So I'm going to give it that host name in the workflow here. Now it's asking me for the the access control policy. In my case, I'm just going to use default here because I didn't go that far. And this is a virtual FTD. So I'm going to make sure I highlight virtual. And for the performance tier, I'm just going to go ahead and pick the basic or most minimal performance tier here. So FTDV5 with 100 meg. Let me go ahead and just blow this up a little bit just so it's easier to read. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now it says here for the subscription license, or excuse me, for the CLI registration key, it tells me to simply copy this key or this command below into the CLI of the FTD. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my Cisco Modeling Labs, and I'm simply going to paste that output into the console. I'm going to say yes. When it asks me if I want to continue, I'm just going to say yes. So hit next on the C3, and it says your device is now onboarding. It may take a long time to finish. You can check the status of the device. Okay, fine. You can add a label. I'm just going to go to security devices. So we can see that it now shows up under security devices, whereas before it was not. And we also see that it is, for connectivity, the status is onboarding. If we go back to CML, we should see some messages and some connectivity between the two after a few minutes here. Okay, we can see the connectivity has changed to online, and now the configuration status is syncing. So that's perfect. So we'll give this another minute or two to kind of complete its process, but that's a very easy and basic way. If you're doing a Greenfield type deployment and you're bringing up a new firewall and you want to manage it with Cisco Cloud Control, that's essentially the process you would follow. And then from there, you would use this interface to then manage policy, push policy, and effectively manage your device from here. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's wonderful for a Greenfield environment, like you said, but what if I have an existing firewall or maybe even existing firewall management center on-prem? So that is a great point. So I actually have that situation here as well. So within my lab, I went ahead and I stood up a virtual firewall management center, which is highlighted here. And then I've effectively taken this FTDV02 and I've onboarded it into that firewall management center. So if I point my web browser to the firewall management center, which I have here, you can see that that firewall is in fact onboarded, and it's essentially just got an inside and outside IP address based on my lab. And I just created like a single NAT rule to get out to essentially like a simulated internet within the lab. So you can see here. And as I'm talking about the next scenario here, we can see that converge management interface changed state to up on the original firewall. So it's making progress in syncing that config over. So we'll continually come back and check on that from time to time. So coming back to the firewall management center, notice there's a integrations option under manage here. So I'm going to click on integrations, and you can see that they give you a security cloud control option. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And basically, all you need to do to migrate this FMC into security cloud control, or C3 for that matter, is to just click this hot link. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. It says, welcome to Cisco Security Cloud, delivered through SCC. And it says, let's get started. Continue with your secure login. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, depending on how many tenants you have, or if you don't have one and you need to create a tenant, you would go through and do that. In my case, I actually have a couple tenants to choose from. So I'm going to choose the one that I've been working with for purpose of this demonstration. And it gives you this application access code. And then it goes ahead and says, okay, I want to authorize this FMC. So I'm going to go ahead and click authorize. Tells me that I've successfully authorized your FMC to register with Cisco Cloud. You can now close this tab. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that tab. Coming back to the FMC, I'm gonna just go ahead and hit save. I'm not gonna make any additional changes there. Tells me it could take up to 90 seconds to complete. You can continue using the management center from other tabs in your browser. So I'm just gonna leave this do its thing. I'll pause the recording until this kind of completes, and we'll come back and see what happens next. Okay, so after, 2.5 minutes or so, it essentially refreshes the page. So when it refreshes, you can see now that Security Cloud Control is in fact enabled. It's US East region, tells me my tenant after, we chose all that in the workflow there. Says it's online, and then really we just have the ability to now disable it as opposed to enable it before. If we head back over to Cloud Control, and if we refresh the page, we can see that the first firewall that we onboarded, Greenfield, has now finished syncing and is in fact online. And now we can also see a second device, which is the Firewall Management Center that we just went ahead and integrated with Security Cloud Control. So again, Greenfield, you can just bring your devices in out of the gate, whether they're HA pair, single device, whatever they might be. You can onboard those into C3 and then just, from their infancy, manage them through Cloud Control. Or if you're already deployed in an on-prem state through FMC, you can bring your FMC into the same interface. So now you can manage everything from the same spot. So that's the idea, right? Now, there's one other thing I do want to highlight here. So if you go from security devices, I'm going to go down to administration, and then you see there's a migration section, and there's a couple choices here. So I'm going to select firewall migration tool. So you can use this migration tool to essentially migrate existing third-party devices or on-prem devices to uh, C3, right? And if you click this little show info button, it gives you a little breakdown of that as well, right? Which is very useful. Then if I go back to administration and I say migrate FTD to cloud delivered FMC, it says no migrations found, but if you want to begin your FTD migration, I would click this link, and it actually gives you a very nice topology or depiction of what it is that it has to offer, and it literally will take you through the workflow. So there's multiple choices or options to start to bring your firewall management into C3 or Security Cloud Control, whatever you want to think of it as. And it's very simple and very easy to do so. And again, like I mentioned on the top of the video, as you start to bring more of the Cisco estate or the Cisco platforms into C3, it's just one place to manage all those policies, right? VPN as a service, the secure access. As you start to bring those workloads in, you no longer are jumping from management platform to management platform. You literally stay within cloud control, and you can efficiently and effectively push all of that policy across the entire environment right here in a single platform. So super powerful, super easy, very efficient. So again, just wanted to highlight a couple of those mechanisms, and I'm hoping I make a bunch more videos that are going to be around Cisco Cloud Control because it really is the direction that Cisco's going. So I hope this has been informative. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on future videos. Take care.